Hi, welcome to the SAP MM training program, and today is day one. So let's start our first day for MM training. Now we'll see who can learn SAP MM. Okay, so who can learn SAP MM? Let's see who can learn. So first thing is anybody can learn SAP. Okay, I'm not talking about only MM. I'm talking about anything in SAP. Okay, so anybody can learn anything in SAP. Okay. And what I mean is you do not really need any specific background to learn anything. Okay, especially the functional side of SAP like MMSD, CRM, PP and all that. So you don't need any functional background or any IT background, anything like that. So especially with this training program as well, you will be learning everything from scratch. Okay, doesn't matter what is your background, what you are doing, what is your qualification, doesn't matter at all. Okay, so you'll be learning everything from scratch. But to learn SAP MM, if you have previously purchasing or inventory knowledge, that will be preferred, but otherwise don't worry about it because you will be learning everything from scratch. And the second thing is it's not all about learning the configuration of the system. Okay, so you in this training you will be also learning about how to map SAP MM from the business point of view, from the business perspective. Okay, so not only about the configuration. So what I mean is, for example, if you remember that during our school days, we used to study trigonometry, differentiation, integration, metrics and all that. Okay, so we learned all the formula and everything, but we had no idea that where in our lifetime we're going to use it. Okay, we learned all the formula. So this is what I mean here is it's not about only learning the configuration, which is like a formula. Okay, how to click this button and that button, but it's all about how this configuration will be used or mapped with a different business scenario. Okay, this is what we're going to learn here. So as I said, in this training program, you'll be learning everything from scratch. And the only desire, the only expectation that I want from your side is your desire to learn. That's all we need from you, and everything we'll be learning in this training session. Okay. Now let's start our first topic, which is introduction to ERP. Okay, so this topic is basically designed for the beginners in SAP. Okay, if you already have some SAP background, then you might know what I'm talking next in the upcoming topic. But this is basically designed for the freshers in SAP who have no background, no idea about SAP. Okay, so that's for them. So introduction to ERP. So first we'll talk about what is ERP. Okay, what is ERP? So ERP basically stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. Okay, I'm not talking about SAP, I'm only talking about the ERP. What is ERP? Okay, ERP is so SAP is nothing. SAP is a ERP software. Okay, SAP is a ERP software. So we'll talk about SAP in a minute again. So why ERP? Okay, why we need ERP? Okay, so basically for integration of the business processes. Okay, so we have different business processes in a business. So probably at different departments, HR, production planning, sales, finance and all that, or maybe different business processes everywhere, or different plants or different countries a business can be. Okay, so it's all about integrating of all the business processes. Okay, then second is your standardization of the system across location. So maybe the business can be in different location within a country, or maybe in a different country as well. So using an ERP system, you can have a standard process. Doesn't matter in which country I have my branches or plants. For overall control of the organization. So using ERP, you can have an overall consolidated control and better controlling of different business processes. So when you use ERP, you can have a better control and hold on the different business processes that you're using. Better reporting system, because using one database for all the different departments, all the systems. So that's why you can have a consolidated better reporting. Okay. And it's using an ERP system, you can best utilize your resources like man, material and machines. Okay, that's your ERP. So ERP, as I said, ERP has different products in the market, and SAP is one of the product of ERP. Okay, so let's see what are the different types of products that we have in the market. So of course, one is SAP, which is the number one in the market these days with more than 60% market share at the moment. Others, ERP products in the market, or you can see SAP competitors are Oracle, BAN, PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, Marshall, and some other small ERP products. Okay, so these are the different ERP products, but again, number one is SAP, which we're learning here. Just a little bit introduction about SAP. I will not be spending too much time on just talking about what is SAP and all that, because if you guys are here to learn SAP, you might already know a lot or most about SAP, but just a little bit introduction I want to give you, and then we'll start with MM. So what is SAP? Okay, what is SAP? So SAP stands for Systems, Applications and Products in Data Processing. Okay, and it's a German company. You might know that was formed in 1972. And as per 2-year-old data, we had 10 million users worldwide, 30,000 installation, 1,000 partner, 21 industry solution. So when I say industry solution, that means SAP can be used in different types of industries. It can be automobile, it can be manufacturing, it can be retail, it can be something else. Okay, so customers worldwide, mostly Fortune 500 companies for overall control of the organization. Basically, the top 500 companies worldwide, they're using SAP these days. Okay, and the main purpose is for the better control of the organization. And at the moment, SAP is the 4th largest software. When you talk about only the software, so SAP is the 4th largest software in the world. And the SAP R3 system is a business software package designed to integrate all areas of SAP business. There's that part I'll talk in the next slide, that SAP is basically will be used or can be used as a consolidated or integrated software, okay, to integrate all the different areas of business. Like you have a different departments, production planning, you have material management, you have finance, you have sales, you have others, you have services. So SAP basically will integrate all those departments like this. Okay, so as I said, you can have different departments like SD, sales and distribution, MM, production planning, financial accounting, project system, okay, plant maintenance, human resources, quality management. So SAP will use a one common database for the different departments of the company, you can say. Okay, it's a consolidation of all the different departments of a company. Okay, now we'll talk about little bit about what are the different modules in SAP. Again, SAP is so big, it's like an ocean. You can spend your life learning whole SAP, but still you can't finish. It's that big. Okay, so let us talk a little bit about the different types of modules that we have in SAP. So basically, we can divide the modules in SAP into two different parts. So first is the functional module, okay, and the second one is technical module. So let's have a look at what are the functional modules and what are the technical modules. So SAP functional modules. So SAP functional modules are like, I'll talk about them in a minute, but to learn most of the functional modules, you do not really need any background at all or any specific knowledge, any qualification. It's not mandatory at all. Okay, so anyone can learn most of the functional modules. Okay, so there are some functional modules like FI, financial planning, which is the finance side of it, CO controlling, again finance side of it, or HR, human resources, SD, sales and distribution, MM, which we're learning here, which is also functional module, PP, production planning, CRM, customer relationship management, and there are many more. Okay, there's so many modules in SAP. Okay, so these are the commonly used one, and we're learning MM here. And then we'll talk about SAP technical modules. What are the technical modules? Okay, so technical modules, to learn technical modules, ideally you should have some sort of relevant IT background, knowledge or experience. Okay, so for example, SAP technical modules are, for example, NetWeaver or BISYS, which is the installation of the software or monitoring of the software, ABAP, which is a programming side of SAP, BIBW, which is a reporting side, SAP Enterprise Portal we have HANA, which is a new in the market, and some others. Okay, so these are the technical modules. Okay, so as I said, to learn technical modules, ideally you should have some sort of background or knowledge within that area. But as per my experience, anyone can learn technical module as well, because I learned ABAP. Even I know a little bit about BIBW as well, but I learned ABAP without any programming background. Okay, and this is the first programming I learned. And if I can learn, anyone can learn. Okay, so that's your technical modules. Now I'll give you some introduction about the classical implementation landscape. Okay, so what is classical implementation landscape? So basically what happens is, whenever, like in the real-time scenario, okay, so if I'm a CRM consultant and I got a project I'm working on, okay, so in the project I'm going to implement, say, SAP MM in a company, and I'm one of the consultant with the whole SAP team. Okay, so when all the consultant doing the customizing of the system, we never do the customizing the live system. So what I mean is, we have 3 different types of system, and one of the system is called development system. So as the name is saying, we do all the developments and everything in the development system. Okay, so we never play with the live system or production system. We always do experiment with or change the config in the development system. Okay, so as a CRM consultant, we change the config in the development system, and once we are happy with the settings and everything, we think it's working and fine, we send the changes or the customizing that we have done to the next system, which is called SAP QoS system or testing system. Okay, so we have done our setting in the development system. Now we'll send the changes to the QoS system. Okay, so QoS system will be used basically by the business people, okay, or the company, where they have their key stakeholders who will be testing the changes that we have done in the QoS system. Okay, and once they are happy that everything is working what they want and whatever they have defined earlier, then finally the changes will be moved onto the live system. Okay, even if there's any change required when the company is already using SAP system, if they want to change some config or implement something, we always start again with the development system. So make your changes in development system, and better not to harm or not to experiment with the live system, and then send the changes to the testing system. Once the business is happy, once they have tested, then the changes will be sent to the live system, which is used by the people on live. Okay, so that's how that's the landscape of the SAP system. So again, the same thing as you can see here. So first, this pink one is a development system. So from here, the changes will be sent to the test client or test system, and finally the changes will be sent to the production system. Okay, so that's all about classical implementation and all that. So you need a little bit of understanding about the system and all that before we start. Now we'll talk about what is the role of SAP MM Consultant. Okay, what is the role? So once you learn SAP MM, okay, so you need to know what is expected from you or what you are supposed to do as a SAP MM Consultant. Okay, so let's have a look. Role of SAP MM Consultant. So basically, you can get 2 types of job once you learn SAP MM. So first is your SAP MM support consultant job. Okay, and the second one is as a junior SAP MM consultant in implementation. Okay, so I'll explain both of them one by one. So what is SAP MM support consultant job? Okay, so with regards to SAP support consultant job, so this job is most likely is like, you can think about say if there's a Honda car company or Toyota company, just a Toyota car company. Okay, so they have implemented or they're using SAP system. Okay, and MM system obviously is a part of the SAP system. So they need someone to look after their day-to-day needs, day-to-day support calls. Okay, so they need SAP MM consultant who can look after their day-to-day issues. Okay, and you can think about this in more like a help desk. Okay, if there is any end user having some problem, they're getting some error, where they will go? Okay, so they will ask this MM support consultant who is sitting or is working with the Toyota company. Okay, so I can get a job with SAP as a support consultant, and if any user have any issue, they will contact me and I will troubleshoot them as per my knowledge in SAP MM and like that. And also if there's any config change required, they will again ask me to make the changes. Okay, so that's a support consultant, or you can think like this is more like a help desk job. So basically your duties will be something like this: attending the issue with the SAP MM end users, gathering requirements from the end users, you're mapping the requirement to SAP and changing the SAP config if required. So you'll be changing the config if you're supposed to do that. Coordinating with the developer for enhancement. Okay, and if there's a requirement from the business that you are supposed to create a new report or some changes in ABAP, which is a programming side of SAP, then as a SAP MM support consultant, you will be the bridge between the business and the developer or the programmer. So whatever requirement is given to you from the business, you will understand those requirements and you will interpret those requirements to the programmer, okay, and who will do those changes. Okay, so basically you will be the bridge between the developer and the business. Helping end user with the user acceptance testing. So once, like, if the end users are, if you have made some changes, or if the developer has made some changes to the system, then I'm talking about the config and all that, then the business will need to test those changes. So we will help the end users, what we call it UAT, user acceptance testing. So you will be helping the end users to test the changes and make sure they're working the way they should be working. Delivering SAP training to the end users. So you may also be asked to deliver the SAP training for the end user. For example, if there's a end users who need some more knowledge for the day-to-day work for SAP, or maybe there's a new recruitment. Okay, in the company there's a new purchasing officer who recently joined, and that purchasing officer never worked with SAP system. So maybe as a MM support consultant, I may be asked to train that person. Okay, to provide the training to that person. Creating training documents. So of course, if you're providing the training, then you need to create some sort of training documents and instructions and all that. Okay, so these are some commonly responsibilities for the support consultant. Now we'll talk about the second type of role, which I call is junior SAP MM consultant role. Okay, so I'm calling it junior because after completing a course or as a junior level of experience, you're not expected to work as like a full-fledged SAP MM consultant. Okay, so you will be still considered a junior. So junior consultant roles will be something like, I may get a job with, say, a company called, say, IBM or Accenture. Okay, where so say I'm working with IBM, and IBM got a project from, say, Coca-Cola company. Okay, and Coca-Cola company wants to implement the SAP system in their company. Okay, and they have asked IBM. So because I'm working as a SAP MM consultant with IBM, IBM may send a team of the SAP consultant to Coca-Cola company. Okay, go there and implement the SAP system. Okay, and I will be a part of the implementation team. Okay, so there will be a whole bunch of guys will be going from different modules to Coca-Cola company to implement the solution to SAP system, and I'll be a part of that team. Okay, and I'll look after SAP MM basically. Okay, so basically you're going to a company, and Coca-Cola company say, and you're going to implement the system over there, and once you have implemented, then your project is finished, and then you'll come back to IBM, and IBM will provide you a second project to ABC company. Okay, so that's your junior SAP consultant implementation consultant role. And here the job responsibility will be something like organizing workshop and gathering customer requirements, scoping gap analysis, preparing blueprints. Okay, so basically as a part of the whole SAP team, as a MM consultant, you will be organizing meetings and workshop with the business or the Coca-Cola company. Will ask for the requirement, okay, what you want, and you will do the scoping. You will see the gap analysis of what business want and what is the difference, what SAP can do and what SAP can't do. That is your gap analysis. And finally, you will be preparing the blueprint. Okay, so this blueprint is nothing. This is what we're going to deliver you as a part of this implementation. That's called blueprint. It's just like a written document and signed by all the main SAP project manager or SAP consultant. Okay, so we'll be organize a workshop, take the requirement and map the requirement from the business. And once you have the requirement, you will customize and deliver the solution. Okay, this is what we're learning here in this training, that how do we customize? Okay, as we got some requirement, how do we customize the system as per those requirements? Okay, so once we have the requirements, once you have the blueprint ready, you will be customizing a system and then you will deliver the solution to Coca-Cola company. Also, the task can be coordinating with the technical team for enhancement. Like I said in the last slide, that if there's a requirement for creating a new report or some changes in a BAP, or which is called enhancement, then as an MM consultant, I will be the bridge between the business and the technical team or the programmers. Testing the changes. So once the changes are done by the technical team or myself, I will make sure the changes are working fine. Okay, we'll test the changes. Documenting the process. I may also be asked to document the processes, the workflow and everything. Okay, writing training documents. So I may be asked to train the end users, okay, or the super users, and maybe if I'm going to train someone, then I need to, create some sort of training documents to provide them as instruction, and training end users and all that. So these are the common duties for the MM consultant when you talk about implementation. Now we'll start a little bit introduction about SAP MM, which we're learning here basically. SAP MM, okay, material management. So SAP MM is also known as procure to pay. Okay, so basically from procuring a material, okay, from the vendor, from any source, and up to paying them. Okay, so the whole process is known as SAP MM. Okay, it looks like very simple from procurement to pay, but there can be a whole lot of things. Probably you need another 20 years just to learn everything. Still you can't finish. Okay, that's too big. So that's also called procure to pay, SAP MM. And little bit introduction I give you about SAP MM. So SAP MM, which is called material management function, is function of SAP is a part of logistic area. Okay, so SAP MM is also a part of the SAP logistic. It is one of the important modules in SAP ERP software, and MM application module supports the procurement and inventory function occurring on day-to-day basis of day-to-day business operations. So basically, this is a part. This is basically a core module of SAP. Okay, what I mean is, if a company is going to implement SAP, they can't implement like they just want to implement SAP SD, SAP FICO, and they want to get rid of SAP MM. It's not like that. Okay, so SAP MM, they need to implement as a part of the whole SAP software, and that's why I call it as this is a core module SAP. Okay, which is basically deals in the inventory management and day-to-day procurement and inventory processes in the business. Okay, so again, as we go in the next part of the training, we'll study those things in more details. The material management module consists of all master data, system configuration, and transaction to complete the procure to pay process. Okay, so as I said, so this MM is all about from creating a master data, and then from changing the configuration, creating a transaction. So creating a master data is like creating a material master, vendor master. There are different types of master data we can create, changing the configuration, and creating the transaction like purchase order or maybe purchase requisition and all that, invoices. So it's a whole complete process from procure to pay. Okay, so that's MM. SAP MM has, if you want to divide SAP MM into different parts, So you can see there are few components of SAP. You can see SAP MM. So basically you can divide it in its like inventory management, material master, physical inventory, MRP, valuation, logistic invoice verification, service master, and all that. So as we go further, we will learning each and everything within the different components of SAP. Okay, it's very big. And also SAP MM is basically interfaced with the other modules. Okay, so what that means is SAP MM is linked to the other modules of SAP. For example, SAP MM is linked to SAP SD. Okay, for example, SD, what is SD? Sales and distribution. That means if someone has created a sales order in the system, the requirement will be sent to SAP MM. Okay, so that's why it's linked with SAP SD. Same way it's linked to SAP PP, production planning. If in the production department someone wants to manufacture something, to manufacture a product they need some sort of raw material. So those raw materials will be purchased by who? MM. Okay, so that's why requirement will be sent to MM. So in this way, SAP MM is linked to PP, SD, plant maintenance, PM, QM, and also accounting, FICO accounting. Okay, so this is linked to the accounting side of SAP as well. Okay, so as we go further, we'll learn all these things in more details later on. This is just an introduction only. So that's about the first video here, and I thank you very much for your time to watch this video, and I will catch you in the next video. So thank you very much again.